Last updated 8/28, December 22, 2017. U.S. President Trump has threatened to cut aid to countries if they vote to condemn the decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. New Zealand will not be bullied into changing its policy towards Jerusalem's status, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says. Her remarks followed threats from U.S. President Donald Trump to cut off funding to countries that supported a UN resolution criticizing his decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The UN General Assembly has overwhelmingly passed a measure rejecting the decision, which was repeatedly criticized as undermining the prospects for peace. More than 100 countries voted against the U.S. Jacinda Ardern said NZ will stand up to Donald Trump. Ardern said New Zealand had a very clear position. New Zealand supports a two-state solution. Some of the things that we saw by international actors like the United States recently, those are decisions that should only be made in the context of a resolution around a two-state solution. It took us backwards, not forwards. Read more. Donald Trump's Jerusalem decision faces UN vote. Trump had strongly supported U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley, who said that the United States will be taking names of countries that vote in favor of a General Assembly resolution declaring that Jerusalem's status can be changed only by direct Israeli-Palestinian negotiations. New Zealand is one of 128 nations who supported a UN resolution criticizing the United States' decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. For all these nations, they take our money and then vote against us, Trump said. They take hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions of dollars, and then they vote against us, he told reporters at a cabinet meeting in Washington with Haley sitting nearby. We are in those votes. Let them vote against us. But Ardern insisted New Zealand would not be bullied over the issue. New Zealand has always had an independent foreign policy. We base our decisions on principle, not being bullied. We will always take a principled foreign policy. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to cut funding to countries who criticize his decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Ardern went on to say New Zealand had a history of making decisions that represented its beliefs and the government would continue to do so. Ardern wouldn't comment on whether she thought Trump was a bully or not. People make their own interpretations from what's been said, but no matter what he says, we will make a decision that is based on our independent foreign policy. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said the government's stance on Jerusalem is very clear. After the vote, early on Friday morning, NZ time, a spokesman for Western-backed Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called the vote a victory for Palestine, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected the vote as preposterous. Haley set the stage for a future showdown over aid linked to UN votes. The United States will remember this day in which it was singled out in this assembly for the very act of exercising our right as a sovereign nation, she said. We will remember it when, once again, we are called up to make the world's largest contribution to the UN, and we will remember it when many countries come calling on us to pay even more and to use our influence for their benefit, characterizing the United States as disrespected. Haley said the U.S. Embassy will be moved to Jerusalem regardless. Australian UN Ambassador Gillian Bird abstained from the vote, saying, "We do not wish to see any party isolated from the process." Stuff.